Hello everybody, this is your main man Keith here from Keith Plays PS4 927. Happy Friday to all my awesome viewers on this awesome channel. Today this is going to be a quick about 7 to 8 minute video because I'm explaining of the season recap and the season stats for our rookie Tyler Zhang, the Penn State University product from San Diego, California. So he had a really good season. It was 17-0 for the Dallas Cowboys. They still remained undefeated. We just beat the Philadelphia Eagles last episode in the conference championship game, which I will have the link to the video, and the divisional round episode against the LA Rams. So we're going to face off against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, this is true. This is going to be Cowboys Steelers, the fourth Super Bowl, because Super Bowls 10 and 13 were won by Pittsburgh, and the most recent was dated back to January of 1996. The Dallas Cowboys won that, giving Pittsburgh its first ever Super Bowl loss. And we're going to have many Cowboys Steelers Super Bowls for our create-a-player franchises for sure. But after this episode, we are going to take a break and catch up on some of the other players. And then I'm thinking about creating a new Dallas Cowboys player, but he'll be on the offense, not on the defense. So, and vice versa. So, playoffs are out. Playoffs, this is the next episode, Super Bowl. Let's go to the stats and awards. So, team stats. This is very surprising to see. The Dallas Cowboys, they've had 7,607 total offensive yards this season, but we are the only team in the league that had over 10,000 yards gained, and we had 3,139 rushing yards, which gave us the most. Passing touchdowns, we had 69. That gave us the most. Rushing touchdowns, that gave us the most. And first downs gained, we actually did the least on that. But defensively, 138 points allowed in this. So that's surprising because we're less than 200. Our opponent, the Pittsburgh Steelers, allowed 313. But the most sacks, 84. So we're the only team to have more than 60 sacks defensively. And 74 fumble recoveries and 27 interceptions. So turnovers, we did not throw any interceptions at all. And we had 0 giveaways, no fumbles lost, so that's good. Pittsburgh only threw 7 interceptions this season, which is somewhat surprising. But let's go to our player stats. Let's see how everybody did. So, defensively, Leighton Vander Esch, he had 125 total tackles, 7.5 sacks, 5 interceptions. And how many defensive touchdowns did he get? 3. Same with Micah Parsons. He did have 3 defensive touchdowns in this episode, but he had 9.5 sacks, 3 INTs. Tyler Zhang, the rookie, he had 3 interceptions. 2 of them returned for touchdowns, by the way. And he had 20 quarterback sacks. Congrats to him. DeMarcus Lawrence had the same sacks as Micah Parsons, 9.5. And it's outstanding to think. I mean, all these guys nearly played 17 games. So, Neville Gallimore had the most defensive touchdowns with 4. Trayvon Diggs had 4 defensive touchdowns. They were all recovered. Most of them were pick sixes, by the way. So, he had 5 interceptions. And I'm thinking that 2 or 3 of them were returned for touchdowns, pick sixes, by the way. But he didn't do a bad job at all, really. Tony Pollard only had 4 kickoff returns for touchdowns, so that was a surpriser. I mean, they were towards the end of the season. Trayvon Diggs, 3 punt return touchdowns, and Tony Pollard had 2 punt return touchdowns. So Dak Prescott nearly had 5,000 passing yards and 69 TDs, no interceptions, so that's something surprising. Ezekiel Elliott, he had 2,284 rushing yards with 30 touchdowns on the year, and he had 124 broken tackles, so that's something there. And we're going to go to the weekly awards. So, Micah Parsons, week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, had 5 tackles, 1 sack, 2 defensive touchdowns for him. Dak Prescott, when we played against the LA Chargers, he was 18 for 21, 241 passing yards. He had 4 touchdowns in that game, surprisingly. So Leighton Vander Esch had 2 fumble recoveries against Philadelphia at home. And back in week 5, we played against the New York Giants. We won big time. Dak Prescott, 8 for 8, 219 yards, 5 TDs on the day. But Trayvon Diggs, surprisingly, had 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 TD. Week 6, 10 for 12, 291 yards, 5 touchdowns for Dak Prescott. And Tyler Zhang, he surprisingly won his first Defensive Player of the Week, the rookie. So 5 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. But Amari Cooper, he had 6 receptions, 255 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the day. 1 interception and 1 touchdown against Denver. Leighton Vander Esch had the awesome game, by the way. Dak Prescott, 11 for 15, 346 yards, 6 touchdowns on the day. And Neville Gallimore, he had 2 fumble recoveries and 2 touchdowns there. Week 11, 9 receptions, 251 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He was the NFC Offensive Player. Amari Cooper, Leighton Vander Esch had 1 sack in all, but he had 1 fumble recovery and 1 forced fumble. Week 12, 9 for 11, 334 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and he had a rushing TD. Dak Prescott was 10 for 11, 334, so the same number of passing yards from back-to-back episodes, 6 touchdowns, but he did have 1 rushing TD with 121 rushing yards. So Jaron Kears, he had 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and a touchdown there. Dak Prescott, he has been outstanding this regular season. 12 for 15, 362 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 carries, 60 yards, 1 touchdown. Dak Prescott again, 9 for 14, 272 passing yards, 6 touchdowns. And Amari Cooper, he had 12 receptions, 300 yards, and 4 TDs there. Dak Prescott, 7 for 9, 202 yards, 4 TDs on the day. And week 18, 10 receptions, 293 yards against Philadelphia, and Amari Cooper won that. So 4 sacks for Micah Parsons. So conference championship, Micah Parsons, he had 3 sacks there. 7 for 9, 198 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had 117 rushing yards. Dak Prescott, surprisingly, in the divisional. But this is conference championship anyway. He was 6 for 6, 168 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he had 2 rushing TDs. So I think this ends it here. I'm surprised to see, if we go to, want to make sure if Tyler Zhang got the most sacks in the league. Let's see, how many sacks? It was Khalil Mack with 25.5, so he was in second place, Tyler Zhang. But the most interceptions were Harrison Smith, Miles Jack, Terrell Edmonds, Jaron Brown, all had 6. But let's see who had the most defensive touchdowns on the season. I'm surprised it has to be a Dallas Cowboys player, Leighton Vander Esch, and Micah Parsons tied up. So Tyler Zhang was also included in that too. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, which is Super Bowl episode.